Hey, let's get into our first story of the night. Something mysterious off the New Zealand coast has grabbed the world's attention. Have a look at this. This is not a giant plastic bag and it is not a jellyfish from outer space. This is what's called a pyrosome, dubbed by scientists as the unicorn of the seas because spotting one is incredibly rare. But Kiwi videographer Steve Hathaway is one lucky man. After waiting his entire life to see one, he spotted this 8-metre beast in the waters near White Island, and lucky for us, he had his video gear on hand to capture this incredible encounter. And he is with us now. Please welcome Steve Hathaway. Steve, can you tell us about that moment when you first went, oh, there's one of those thingies?
Man, I just swam down this rock face and this thing was just draped around the weed, and I was like, man, I've wanted to see one of those all my life. And I knew it was one of those moments. It was like they weren't going to be able to pull me out of the water. I just kept in there until I got all the shots that I wanted. So I stayed on with it for about 45 minutes.
Can you explain to people who haven't been looking for one of these all their lives what it actually is?
Yeah, it's actually an animal. It's a colony of animals, and it's a filter feeder. So at this time of the year, the water's warming up really quickly, just like it's meant to be spring outside, even though it's really cold at the moment. And so just like the gardens in our land, bloom, likewise underneath the water, there's a lot of life at the moment. And this is a filter feeder, and that's why it's found at this time of the year.
So it's a whole bunch of little things that have come together into one glorious slime
There's
ball.
a bunch of colonies. Yeah, exactly. If you zoom in on it, you can actually see them.
About glorious, though. Like, it's quite ugly. It looks like something from Ghostbusters. Tell me on why it's so amazing.
Why it's so amazing? It's just so rare to see, so unusual to see. And I think in this day of social media, people are kind of like, oh, yeah, I've seen a humpback whale, I've seen a great white shark. And I think this thing is like, whoa, what the heck is that, And it's, there's been some quite interesting descriptions online about it.
Is it dangerous? Like if I touched it, would I get absorbed into it? What is it?
It's gelatinous. I've actually got footage of my dive buddy who had it over his head.
Insane!
And I had an old scientist Facebook message me, and he said in '69 we found one that was 20 metres long.
Oh.
He's got a photo of one of his buddies swimming inside of one.
So it's lots of sort of tapioca sort of balls sticking together or something. Can you, if you like, what did it feel like? Could you break it apart and then would it join up, or?
You could. It wouldn't join together again, but you could tear it if you wanted to. Right. But it actually feels a little bit more robust than you think. It's gelatinous, but it's got quite a firm feeling on the outside of it. It's probably about 10 mils thick, and it's hollow all the way through.
Definitely a record on the show for saying the word gelatinous. It's a great word, gelatinous. Now that you've found this one that you've been searching for so long, what's next on your bucket list? What do you want to capture with that camera of yours?
Oh man, just this summer it's going to be false killer whales again, I hope. And we did a story for Blue Planet too, and but I've got some unfinished business with those things. We get about 150 of them that visit New Zealand. They turn up in about December, they disappear in May, and we haven't nailed the sequence that I want there. So they're amazing animals.
I would like to see that thing, that unicorn of the sea. What should I do in order to get out there and discover one of my own? Spend 20-something years looking for one? Would that
Oh, exactly, yeah. I think probably the way to find one would be at this time of the year going up in a spotter plane and having a boat. That would be the way to find one. Okay. Because it's very easy to see stuff from the surface, but when you're at water level, you could be right next to something and miss it.
I can tell you're so passionate about the ocean. Can you explain that to us? What's your connection?
Oh, I've just loved it ever since I was a kid. It's just beyond belief. I don't know what it is. It's just part of who I am.
And your daughter's the same?
Yeah, I do. We do a kids' education series, Young Ocean Explorers. YoungOceanExplorers.com, a bit of a plug there. That's really popular in schools, and it's a marine education site. It's a go-to place. We want to bring the underwater story of New Zealand into the Kiwi story. Right. About 80% of our natives live in the ocean, and we're a nation that celebrates our natives, but when it comes to our knowledge about underneath the surface, it's very, very limited. So
right.
Our best stories are yet to be told.
Proud Dad, you've done a great job on that one too. Please thank Steve Hathaway.